The phone lies face up on the pillow, and the pillow is blue with its light. 1:17 in the morning. A thumb hovers over the glass, then presses play, and a face appears. Someone laughing at something off camera. Someone the person holding the phone has not seen in a long time. Lean closer, closer than that. Press your eye almost against the glass, and the face comes apart. There is no skin there. There is no smile. There are only tiny cells, red ones, green ones, blue ones, standing in stripes thinner than a human hair, each one switching on and off as many as 120 times every second. Nothing in that glass knows it is showing a face. The file behind it is only numbers. The processor shuffling those numbers has never heard of anyone. And yet the person in the dark bedroom is crying a little, quietly, the way you cry when you don't want to wake anyone in the next room. Crying at red, green, and blue. Somewhere between the flickering cells and the wet eyes, a face was built. Not received, built. Which leaves a question that will not sit still once you have noticed it. If the face was never in the phone, then where exactly is the person you miss? Her name is Marisol Chen, and her job is to make sure the illusion is told well. She works in a display calibration lab in Hsinchu, Taiwan, a windowless room held at exactly 23 degrees Celsius, its walls painted a gray so perfectly neutral it has a product number instead of a name. Every morning she clips a spectroradiometer to a mounting arm and aims it at panels bound for phones and laptops, checking that the reds are honest reds and the whites are not drifting green. She has done this for 11 years. In her left breast pocket she carries a 10-power jeweler's loupe, and she has a habit her co-workers tease her about. She presses it against every screen she meets. Airport monitors, hotel televisions, the menu board at the noodle shop downstairs. Through the loupe, every image on Earth dissolves into the same 3 colors, standing in the same neat rows like crops seen from a plane. A screen the size of the one you may be watching right now holds a little over 8 million pixels. Each pixel is 3 subpixels, 1 red, 1 green, 1 blue, which means nearly 25 million separate light sources are flickering at you at this moment. None of them is ever the color of skin. There is no beige subpixel, no brown one, no gold, no gray for an aging temple. Skin does not exist on a screen. It is voted into existence by red, green, and blue shouting at different volumes, and by a brain willing to hear a face in the noise. Marisol's brain was very willing. Every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock Taiwan time, she called her father in Guadalajara, where it was still Saturday evening, and he would answer in his kitchen under a bare hanging bulb, holding the phone far too close, so that his face filled the whole frame. One eyebrow, the deep crease beside his mouth, the steam of his coffee fogging the lens. The connection was never good. The call compressed his face down to a few thousand pixels, smeared it when he moved, froze him mid-laugh. She knew, better than almost anyone alive, exactly how little was arriving. She had measured screens like that one, and it never mattered. The moment the call connected, there he was, whole, warm, hers. Here is what her brain was doing and what yours does. Behind your right ear, along the underside of the temporal lobe, runs a strip of cortex called the fusiform face area, and it fires for faces the way a smoke alarm fires for smoke. Early, loudly, and without waiting for proof. It fires for the moon. It fires for electrical outlets, for the front ends of cars, for 2 dots in a line drawn by a child. In 1976, it fired for millions of people at once, when a spacecraft photographed a sunlit mesa on Mars, and half of Earth saw a giant stone face staring back. The brain builds faces on speculation, because for 200,000 years the cost of missing a real face in the shadows was higher than the cost of inventing a false one. You are descended, every one of you, from the ones who saw faces that were not there. Her father died in March of 2021, pneumonia, and quickly. 9 days from the first cough to the phone call from her sister, which reached Marisol mid-shift, standing in the neutral gray room, surrounded by 200 glowing panels that did not change at all. The last thing he had sent her, 11 days before, was a video. 41 seconds. Him in the courtyard, holding up a mango from the tree they had planted together when she was 7, turning it slowly in the afternoon light. "It's ready," he says. "Come home and I'll save you one." She watched it the night he died. She watched it on the flight to Mexico, in the middle seat, with her jacket pulled over the phone. She watched it so many times over the following months that she knew the exact frame where a bird crosses the top corner, the exact syllable where his voice cracks upward. And one night in July, 4 months after, she did the thing she does. She paused the video on his face, took the loupe from her pocket, and pressed it to the glass. Red, green, blue, little cells in rows, no eyes, no mango, no father. She had expected it. She of all people had expected it. But she had also, some quiet part of her, expected it to break something, to be caught, to have the trick exposed and the comfort taken away. Nothing broke. She lowered the loupe and he came back. Instantly, completely, without effort or permission. The 41 seconds played and there he was, turning the fruit in the light. So she went looking for where he actually was. She took an old photograph from 1998, the two of them at the kitchen table, her in a school uniform, and put the loupe on his face there too. Dye clouds, grain. No father in the paper either. Then, near midnight, she stood at the bathroom mirror, looking at her own face, his same jaw, his same crease starting beside her mouth, and it landed. The mirror was not showing her anything either. The mirror sends only photons, and so did he. In person. Across the kitchen table, all those years. Light bounced off his skin, passed through her pupil, and landed on her retina upside down and backwards. And there it stopped being light. It became electrochemical spikes, running up the optic nerve into a brain that sits sealed inside the skull, in total darkness, where no light has ever reached and never will. Her brain has never seen light, not once in its life. It receives reports from the dark, and from those reports it paints a world, and a kitchen, and a father, filling in the blind spot where the optic nerve exits the eye, erasing the smear of every eye movement, smoothing, guessing, completing. She had never seen her father, not through the phone, not across the table, not the morning he ran behind her bicycle on Calle Morelos with his hand on the seat, lying to her that he was still holding on. Every single time, on every single day of his life, the man she saw was assembled behind her own eyes, out of signals exactly as faceless as subpixels. The screen was never a degraded copy of real seeing. It was the same arrangement with the wiring left exposed, which meant the thing she was afraid of, that she had been loving pixels, loving a trick, loving light instead of a man, had it backwards. The pixels were never what she loved, but neither were the photons. What she loved was the one her own mind built and kept building. The rendering, maintained for 40 years, updated every Sunday. so detailed by now that it runs without input. Close your eyes and picture someone you miss. Brain scans show your visual cortex lighting up in nearly the same regions as when the person stood in front of you. The machinery does not much care where the signal comes from. It only cares that there is someone to build. Sit with what that does to an ordinary evening. The person across your table right now, the one salting their food, saying your name, is being rendered inside your skull at this moment, in the dark, from raw signal. And you are being rendered inside theirs. Two constructions, facing each other across a gap that light merely crosses. When people say no one ever really knows anyone, they usually mean it as a sadness about secrets. It is stranger than that. It is anatomy. And it opens the question rather than closing it. If the one you love was always, in the strict optical sense, built by you, then when the input stops, when the calls end and the photons quit coming, what exactly has been lost? The builder still stands at the site. The blueprints are intact. Marisol can close her eyes and produce the bare bulb, the coffee steam, the mango turning. Is that a lesser seeing than the Sunday calls were? By how much? Measured in what? She could not answer it. She has stopped expecting to. She still works in the gray room in Hsinchu, still carries the loupe, though she reaches for it less. She has a new habit now, one the co-workers have not noticed. When a panel passes calibration, running its burn-in loupe, a stock face, smiling on a beach, over and over, she sometimes leans in close before switching it off and thinks, somewhere, eventually, someone is going to cry at you. 25 million cells that will never know it. A face that will never be there. And a person on the other side of the glass doing the oldest thing a human brain knows how to do. The thing it was doing long before glass. Seeing someone in the dark, because the seeing was always coming from inside. At home some nights, she still plays the 41 seconds. The bird crosses the corner. The mango turns. It's ready, he says. Come home. The video ends, and the screen goes black. And for a moment the room holds its breath. In the dark glass there is only a faint reflection now. Her own face, his same jaw, lit by nothing. 1:18 in the morning. 25 million cells have stopped flickering. The face stays.